So I would first request the undergraduate students. So whoever is present here, can you please unmute yourself and show your camera and just let me know who you are. The undergraduate students, one after the other. Yes, please unmute yourself. So, I mean, are you not able to unmute yourself somehow? Then I have to check whether it can be done from my end.
No, sir, we can hear you. Hello. Hello, sir. Am I audible?
So I'm not able to hear you. I do not know what is happening. Just try to unmute yourself. If I cannot hear you, just let me try. I mean, initially always this is a problem with the platform. Let me do one thing. Let me just leave the meeting and join again. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it's fine. So I can also hear you. So let us get started with the undergraduate students. Just let me get a bit familiar with who are here. And so we will do it sequentially. First the undergraduate students, then the new master students, and then the new PhD students. So undergraduate students, you can unmute one after the other. There is no particular sequence. You can just, if some of you are unable to share your video, not a problem. I mean, we can all understand the connectivity issues. That even by sitting in the IIT campus, I was facing a lot of connectivity issue before joining this meeting. So, I can appreciate that, and therefore don't get bothered by that. So whoever cannot show the video, it is fine. But let us get started with the undergraduate students, one after the other. You can unmute, tell in which year, which department you are, etc. Yeah, get started. Whoever is speaking, just make sure you unmute yourself and talk. Yes.
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, my name is Shobhadip Mondal. I am from mechanical department in its 4th year, and I am having thermal specialization.
So you are dual degree mechanical.
Yes.
Dual degree thermal, basically thermal science. Next.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, yes. Yeah, I could not hear. Just tell who are you and your, I mean, which department, year, etc.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes.
Sir, I am Aravind. I am
Aravind.
from mechanical department. Yes, sir, Aravind.
Okay.
I am from mechanical department. I am a BTech student, sir.
Which year? Fourth year.
Fourth year, sir, BTech.
Okay.
Sir.
Okay. Next.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Sir, my name is Riyali Singh. I'm BTech student from fourth year, mechanical department.
Mechanical fourth year BTech. Okay.
Yes.
Next.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah, tell any one of you, please.
Yeah, so my name is Utsav Pal. I am fourth year dual degree student of thermal specialization in mechanical department.
You are dual degree fourth year. Okay.
Yes.
Thermal, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
I am Amar Bapat. I am thermal specialization dual degree student, currently in fourth year.
Okay. Okay.
Good morning, sir. I am Vardhan Vaidjula, enrolled in its dual degree course in mechanical engineering department, specializing in thermal science and engineering.
Okay. Next.
Hello, sir. My name is Praveen Odaykaran. Hello, sir. My name is Praveen Odaykaran. I am from mechanical engineering, fourth year BTech.
Just tell your name again.
Praveen Odaykaran, sir.
Praveen.
Fourth year mechanical engineering BTech.
Okay. So BTech fourth year.
Yes, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, am I audible? I am
Hello, sir.
Rohit Rongali. Hello.
Yeah. Just tell Rohit.
Yes, sir. I am Rohit Rongali, fourth year undergraduate.
Yes.
Fourth year undergraduate, mechanical engineering department.
Fourth year mechanical. Okay. Next.
Good morning, sir. I am Sandeepan Haldar. I am a fourth year undergraduate, mechanical engineering. I am doing my BTech.
Just tell again your name.
Sandeepan Haldar.
Sandeepan Haldar. You are fourth year BTech.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next.
Hello, sir. My name is Aditya Nilwania, fourth year undergraduate from mechanical engineering department.
Just tell your name again.
Aditya Nilwania.
Aditya.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fourth year mechanical. Okay. Okay. Next.
Hello, sir. Sir, I'm Arijit Ghosh Dastidar. I'm a fourth year undergraduate student from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, enrolled in its BTech program.
Okay.
Good morning, sir. I'm Srinath Banagadi, a fourth year BTech mechanical engineering student.
Okay. Okay. Next.
Sir, and
good morning, sir.
I'm
Mugilan.
I'm a fourth year degree student.
Just
am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible, but I could not hear your name properly.
Mugilan, sir.
Mugilan.
Specialization.
Yes, Mugilan, you are dual degree thermal.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Then next.
Sir, am I audible?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes,
sir,
you are audible.
Sai Gautam Gaur. My name is Anurag Sagautam Gaud. I'm a fourth year degree student in thermal engineering.
Okay. Okay. Next.
I am Chaya Sai Chandana. I am in fourth year BTech from Mechanical Engineering Department.
Just tell your name again.
Chaya Sai Chandana. Chandana.
Chandana.
Yes, sir.
Mechanical fourth year BTech.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then. Any more BTech or dual degree students? Is there any more BTech or dual degree student who is present in this class? If not, we will get into the MTech or MS students, the master students, the regular master student, not the dual degree student. Just unmute yourself and if possible show your video and tell who you are.
Hello, sir.
Yes, hello.
My name is Ruhul Amin, first year MTech Thermal Science and Engineering.
Rahul Amin, so you have just joined as the first year MTech student, right?
Yes, sir.
In thermal. So, where from you are?
I'm from West Bengal, sir, Farakka.
You are from West Bengal, Farakka, and from which college you did your BTech?
From Bankura Union Institute of Engineering.
Bankura Union College. Okay. Next.
Hello, sir. My
Yes,
name is
hello.
Ayan Kishore.
I mean, I can't see you. Just tell again.
My name is Ayan Kishore. I'm first year MTech student. I did my BTech from NIT Allahabad.
Ayan Kishore. Okay,
Yes, sir.
I cannot see your video. Is your video visible? I mean, I cannot see.
It is on.
Anyway, so Ayan Kishore, you are first year MTech.
Yes, sir.
Then next, other first year MTech students, please tell one by one.
Hello, good morning, sir.
Morning.
I am Sumit Singh, first year MTech, enrolled in thermal science.
Okay. You are
So
from which?
I am from Pune, Maharashtra, and I was in VIT Pune.
Okay. Next.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Am I audible, sir? Good morning,
Yes.
sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm Devendra Singh Thakur, newly admitted in master's course in thermal science specialization.
Just tell your name again.
Devendra Singh Thakur, sir.
I cannot see your video. I mean, is it?
Yes, sir. I am unable to share it, sir.
No, it's all right. Just tell the spelling of his name.
Devendra.
Devendra.
Hanji, Devendra Singh.
Devendra Singh. First year MTech. From which place you are?
I am from Rajasthan, sir.
BTech?
Rajasthan, sir. I did my BTech from Guru Nanak Dev Engineering College, Ludhiana, Punjab, sir.
Okay. Next.
Hello, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, hello.
Hello. Hello, sir. I am Adarsh from Kerala. First year MTech student, thermal.
Adarsh.
Yes.
Okay. From which college you did your BTech?
Government Engineering College, Kotte, the state in Kerala.
Okay. Next.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, tell. Any one of you. Yeah, tell.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. My name is Siddhant Kumar Sahu. I am doing thermal science engineering, first mechanical from first year.
Mm-hmm.
I did
Where did
my
you do your
BTech
BTech?
from, sir.
From?
Sir, National Institute of Science and Technology, Odisha.
NIST, Berhampur.
Yes, sir.
Then
Good morning, sir.
morning.
So myself Raju Das from West Bengal, Coachbihar.
Okay.
First year MTech student, Thermal Science and Engineering, and I did my BTech in Jalpaiguri Government Engineering College.
Jalpaiguri.
Yes, sir.
Next.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, my name is Akhil P. Mohan, and I'm first year MTech student in Thermal Science and Engineering. I did my BTech from College of Engineering, Trivandrum, and I am from Kerala.
Next.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Okay.
Sir, I am Unishman Vasco from Bakuda, West Bengal. And I'm first year MTech student and specialized in thermal science and engineering. And I did my BTech from IIT Shibpur, sir.
Shibpur. So totally.
Good morning.
Yourself, you can switch off your both audio and video so that the connection is better for the others.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning. You, please unmute yourself. You are muted, so I cannot hear you.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Sir, my name is Soumitra Singh Thakur. I am from Bhilai, Chhattisgarh, and I am a first year MTech student, specialization in thermal science and engineering.
BTech from which place?
Yes, sir. BTech from Bhilai Institute of Technology.
Bhilai Institute of Technology.
Yes, sir.
Next.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I am Prasunde. I am
Prasunde,
first year
yes.
MTech student, specialization in thermal science and engineering.
Okay. You are BTech from which place?
I did BTech from IIST Shibpur.
Shibpur. Next.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Yeah, then.
Sir, audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible. Very much audible.
Sir, I am Lieutenant Commander Praveen, sir. I am first year MTech student. I am from Kerala, sir. I have done my BTech in mechanical engineering from Indian Naval Academy.
Okay, so you are on leave from Navy or what? What is the situation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Presently, I am in my present unit, sir. But I have been relieved for attending the online classes, sir.
Okay, so you are in a. I mean, what kind of this one? I mean, leave for complete study or
yes,
just
sir.
for
2 years of paid leave, sir.
2 years of paid leave you have got from the Navy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so in Navy, which position? In which position you are?
Sir, I am Lieutenant Commander, sir. I am specialized in some. Yes, sir.
And when did you join the Navy?
Sir, in 2014, sir.
2014. So, so you did your BTech in 2013 or something like that.
Yes, sir. 2014, I finished my BTech, sir.
You completed your BTech and joined the Navy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, it's fine. Next.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, I am Ashwin Das, and I am a student in first year thermal engineering MTech. I am from Odisha.
And from which institute you did your BTech?
Sir, CET Bhubaneswar.
CET, that is College of Engineering and Technology.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Next.
Sir, Shantan Don. I'm a student here in second semester.
MS.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other master student
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Myself Chaitanya. I'm from Andhra Pradesh. First year master students in thermal engineering. I done my BTech from NIT Surat.
NIT Surat you did your BTech. Okay.
NIT Surat, sir.
NIT Surat. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then next.
Good morning, sir. My name is Shubham Patil. I am from
Shubham.
Yes, sir. Shubham Patil. I am from Jalgaon, Maharashtra, and I did my BTech from NIT Nagpur.
Okay, so you are first year MTech.
Yes, sir. First year MTech student.
Okay. Next.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
My name is Sushmit Das Gupta. I'm from Hyderabad. I'm a first year MTech student, and I have done my BTech from JNTU Hyderabad.
JNTU, that is Kakinada.
Hyderabad.
Okay, Hyderabad. Okay. Next.
Good morning, sir.
Any other MTech or MA student here?
Yes, sir. My name is Srihari Chandrakant Basarkode.
What Srihari?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Srihari. Where from you are?
Sangli, Maharashtra. I done my BTech in Sinhagad, Pune.
BTech from?
Sinhagad, Pune.
Okay. Okay. Any other MTech student? Who are you speaking? Harshal. I cannot hear you. Just check whether you are muted or not. Somehow your voice is not coming. If your voice is not coming, you can just type in chat. Just type in the chat box your where from you are and which college. That is also okay. Okay, so I think we had all the master students introduced. So the remaining will be the PhD students. Right?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, my name is Gadi Uday Banu, sir. I am from Andhra Pradesh. I'm a first year research scholar, sir, from mechanical department in thermal science engineering specialization.
PhD mechanical. Who is your supervisor?
Mahendra, sir.
Professor
Mahendra Reddy.
Mahendra Reddy. Okay. Okay. Next.
I did my master's.
Yes. Tell you are from masters from.
IIIT Kanchipuram, Chennai, sir.
IIIT Kanchipuram. Okay.
Oh yes.
Next.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Sir, I am Ruby Shakya, first year PhD student from physics department.
You are first year physics PhD. Who is your supervisor?
Professor P.S. Burada.
Professor Burada. Okay. So is your PhD on some topic in related to fluid mechanics? Why have you taken this?
Yes, sir, it is related to fluid mechanics.
Related to fluid mechanics.
Yeah, my sir told me to take this course.
Okay, that's fine. Next.
Sir, my name is Anandita Bhattacharya. I'm a first year PhD student. You are my supervisor, and I did my BTech from IIT Kharagpur and Masters from ETH Zurich.
Okay. Next.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I am Monidip Roy, first year PhD student at SMST department. Sir, you were my supervisor, and I did my BTech from NIT Durgapur.
Okay. Next.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
So my name is Priyanka and I am from Chandigarh. I did my BTech from Punjab University, MTech from IIT ISM Dhanbad, and I am a first year PhD student from chemical.
First year PhD student in chemical engineering. Okay. Who is your supervisor?
Professor Gargidas.
Professor Gargidas. Okay. Next.
Good morning, sir. My name is Shashi Rastogi. I am a PhD second year student, and I did my BTech from CSC University Kanpur and my MTech from NIT Jamshedpur. And Professor Chirodip Bakli is my supervisor.
So you are in Energy Science and Engineering.
Yeah, School of Energy Science and Engineering.
School of Energy Science and Engineering, and Professor Chirodip Bakli is your supervisor. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next.
Good morning, sir. Sir, I am Ekta. I did my BTech from Punjab University, Chandigarh, and MTech from NIT Calicut. I am a first year PhD student under Professor Gargi Das from Chemical Engineering Department.
Okay. Next.
Good morning, sir. Myself Shubhadeep Devnath. I am from Tripura, Agartala. You and Chirodip sir is my supervisor. I am enrolled in School of Energy Science and Engineering.
Energy Science. Okay. Next.
Good morning, sir. My name is Krishna Priya. I'm from Kerala. I did my integrated BSMS in mathematics with physics as minor from IISER Trivandrum. I just joined for PhD in CCDS, IIT Kharagpur. My supervisor is Professor Raja Lakraju, sir.
Professor Rajaram Lakraju is your supervisor.
Yes.
Okay. Next.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I am Snehal Patil. I am from Kolhapur. I have done my MTech from VNIT Nagpur. I have joined mechanical department, and my supervisor is Professor Rajaram Lakraj.
Your supervisor is also Professor Rajaram Lakraj. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Next.
Very good morning, sir.
Good morning. Yes.
My name is Prashant. I am pursuing PhD program at a Cryogenic Engineering Center under guidance of Professor Indranil Ghosh. I am from Bangalore. I did my BE in BNM Institute of Technology and did MTech by Research program at VIT Vellore. It is my pleasure to be in your class, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Next.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I am Shubhranil Sanyal. I am a first year PhD scholar at Center for Computational and Data Sciences, IIT Kharagpur. I did my BSc in mathematics from Eventual College, Kuch Bihar, and MSc in mathematics from NIT Nagpur. And my supervisor is Professor Somnath Roy. And my co-supervisor is Dr. Sunil Manohar Das.
Okay. 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 Next.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I am Sandipan Trivedi. I joined the PhD program as a working professional in the month of January, the last sem, under Professor P.K. Das. I am from Kolkata. I did my BTech from IIST Shibpur.
Okay, where are you working now?
I am working in Pumps and Fluid Engineering Private Limited.
So it's a
we
company
design and manufacture centrifugal pumps.
It's a company in Kolkata.
In Kolkata, yeah.
Okay. So they have permitted you to join these regular online classes, etc.
Yes.
Okay. Next. Okay. So I think that we have got introduced to all the students who are present in this online platform today, and glad to see all of you. Of course, it would have been better if we could interact in the real physical classroom, but whatever is feasible, we will make the most out of it. So I will tell you some of the things about how we will proceed in this course before starting the first chapter, so to say. So first of all, although it's a online platform, but I would try to have the style of teaching exactly in the same way in which I teach physical classes. And therefore, I will be using the whiteboard, which is that whiteboard software for describing all the concepts, mathematical foundations, etc. I will minimize the use of PowerPoint presentation. I cannot say it will be absolute zero, but I will try to minimize it and try to have a way of teaching which makes you familiar with the way in which you expect this subject to be taught. Regarding your attendance and participation in the class, of course attendance is compulsory, but from my end what I can tell is that I will not penalize anybody for lack of attendance. There are two aspects about it. One is, of course, in the online platform, it is sometimes challenging because of network and other issues. The other aspect is that if you do not find my class useful and interesting, do not attend. I mean, as simple as that. If you find that these are something which are not relevant to your interest, or you already know most of the things and therefore it is not necessary, either way it is fine with me. So, but there could also be some cases where you have network issue and that is why you are unable to attend the class despite your best interest. Most of the classes will be recorded and the recorded version will be uploaded in preferably YouTube, but I mean other modes also may be there, but for sure YouTube. So you can look into that. I'm sure many of you, perhaps most of you, have also been familiar with my NPTEL courses on the related subjects, and you could consult those videos as well. So all in all, your attendance in the class, while it is very important, but it is not something which is extremely binding, at least for my class. But do not just attend the class for the sake of giving attendance. This I tell even to the to all my students whenever I teach a physical class, that if you do not want, do not attend. But just for the sake of entering your and in online platform it is so easy because you can just log in and your name is there. You are anyway likely to keep yourself muted for the benefit of the communication in the class that will anyway be there. Videos also I would not encourage you to keep on until and unless I am personally interacting with you, because that helps in having a better bandwidth of communication. So all in all, it is also possible that you are registered online but physically doing something else. So if that be the case, better not come online, because I will not give you any credit or discredit out of this. So that is one of the things. Regarding your questions or sort of the interactions that you intend to have with me, it is expected that you be a bit systematic. So if you see the Microsoft Teams platform, those of you who have attended earlier classes in the same platform in either IIT Kharagpur or elsewhere, you will be familiar with this. So there is a hand raising this icon at the top of the platform. So you can raise your hand there. Not always that as soon as you raise your hand I will be responding, but I will be keeping track of that, and whenever I mean I find the opportunity during the class or end of the class, I will address that question. In addition, if you have something to tell but you are not getting an opportunity to speak, you can also type in the chat box, which will be visible to me, and then I will keep that into account. I expect the interaction in the class to be quite strong in a way that it is beneficial for all concerned. Regarding the contents that we'll be having in this particular course, so advanced fluid mechanics doesn't mean that everything that you will be learning here is absolutely unknown to you, and in fact most of the things which we will be discussing in the class will appear to be very much familiar to you, and that is a great danger, because then you have a belief that you understand it very well, but once we go through that you will realize that many of these things you really do not understand that well. And this is because of the legacy that we carry from our high school and junior undergraduate classes. For example, the Bernoulli's equation also we will discuss in this class. Bernoulli's equation you have studied in high school. Bernoulli's equation you have studied in undergraduate, junior undergraduate. And you will see that there is a difference in perception about how we are discussing those things. So advanced fluid mechanics is not necessarily advanced in a way that you have never heard of it. I would better interpret it as advanced concepts in fundamentals of fluid mechanics, which is extremely important, and the basic foundations of this are essentially physics and mathematics. Of course, we'll strike a balance because it is neither a physics class nor a mathematics class, it's an engineering class, and therefore we will try to use the foundations of physics and mathematics to see or to develop an engineering orientation of the fluid mechanics as a subject. So in that way we will proceed. Regarding the assessments and evaluations, we will be having, of course, the sort of class test or mid-semester assessments based on the timings or the range of time slots that is being provided centrally. We'll try to stick to that. Beyond that, I'll be giving homeworks and assignments, etc. Try to do all these things well and carefully, and we will be giving you the links for submitting your homeworks, assignments, etc. Exam also will be online, but my mode of taking exam is the very classical mode of taking exam, which is the you essentially have to write in your own hands in a piece of paper or your copy, and then take a picture and upload. So that will be your answer script. So very traditional. So in that way, I do not want it very much different from the way in which you perceive exam or homework, submission, etc. Except that you may have to take a picture and submit. And the relative distribution of the weightages of various exams, including the mid-semester ones and end-semester ones, will be as per the recommendation of the institute. So whatever it is for all other courses, it will be similar to this, similar here. Regarding the class timings, of course, we have our slots like this, and we'll try to follow it more or less meticulously, but there will be certain occasions because of my other engagement or other work, I may not be able to have a few classes as per the this timing, and I will let you know in advance, and we'll try to identify some makeup slots for this particular class in case something is missed, but that will not be too frequent, so whatever it is we will adjust that. Other than this, I would recommend, if any of you have already not registered for the course, because some of you may have got the link from some of your friends, and that is how you have joined. you try to register and get it connected through this Microsoft Teams platform, so that every day's link, it is not necessary that you have to be shared with. You can just open the calendar in the Microsoft Teams and click the particular class in the calendar to join that particular class. So that's it, and we will get started with our maybe the first topic. But before that, if any of you want to tell something, please let me know, and you can raise your hand, and then I can ask you to tell whatever you want to tell, and if not, then we will enter into the teaching. Okay, so then okay, so I see that there are 2 participants who are having some questions. Siddhant Kumar Sahu, yes, tell what is your question?
Sir, we are enrolled in thermal science and engineering.
Yes.
So our subject is fluid mechanics.
So this is the same exactly. So fluid mechanics and advanced fluid mechanics, they are the same, exactly the same. So previously, there was a course like this, fluid mechanics, which later on was converted to advanced fluid mechanics, but somehow because it was not erased in the online system, both courses exist simultaneously, but they are exactly the same. There is no difference. So whatever is in your ERP system, whatever you are allowed to register for, either of these 2 you can register. But
this is our core subject.
But for the sake of uniformity, I think all of you can register in advanced fluid mechanics, and we can get it this uniform by the academic section of the institute. You don't worry about that.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So Harshal Singh, you want to tell something? Yes. Somehow I am not able to hear you. Harshal, I cannot hear you. But anyway, Rahul, you want to tell something?
Can you please tell us that what books do we need to follow along with your lectures?
Yes, I will tell all those things. Books and other things I will tell as we move along.
Okay, sir. Thanks, sir.
Okay. So I think that there are no more. Once your question is addressed, you can put your hand down, because otherwise it might show that you still have your question and I may get a bit confused. So once the discussion is done, you can just put your hand down. Yes. Okay. So regarding the books, there are certain very good books in the undergraduate level that many of you have studied, and the 2 of the very well-known books written by foreign authors in the undergraduate level. One is authored by Fox and MacDonald, and other by Frank White. So if you are familiar with these books, and if you have studied in your undergraduate level with some use of these books, those books are still useful, and keep on using them, both Fox and MacDonald and Frank White. The other book in the undergraduate level, which is actually a bit of a bridge between the undergraduate and the postgraduate level, which sometimes a lot of that material is likely to be used in the class simply because I am one of the authors of the book, and that is authored by Professor Som, Professor Gautam Biswas, and myself, McGraw-Hill. This Introduction to Fluid Mechanics and Fluid Machines. So that book also partly you can use. Regarding more advanced books, my preferred one and perhaps the best one covering all the topics is the book authored by Kundu and Cohen. Kundu and Cohen, Fluid Mechanics. One of the best books which covers the advanced concepts in a manner which is physically and mathematically very balanced. And there are several other books which are very advanced. For example, there is a book authored by Batchelor on fluid mechanics, but it may appear to be very complicated mathematically for those of you typically who are not from a very strong mathematics background. So I would not recommend that as a first level of the textbooks. So these are some of the textbooks, and all in all, you will find a lot of online materials, also online resources, not just video lectures, but also lots of good online notes, and try to make use of all these in this particular course. So let me try to at least share my whiteboard in an effort to see whether it is working or not. Sometimes it doesn't work. So let me see. So it is getting loaded. I think I have to just make it full screen. So at least the size is. Can you see this whiteboard partly, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
let me try to increase the size and see it is working or not. I mean, I also need to settle with this most recent version. So let me just try to sort of. So can you all see this bigger whiteboard?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me start writing on this and see how it works. So so the first chapter that we will study is kinematics of fluid. Why this is one of the key chapters that I consider in fluid mechanics is because if you see the various aspects of mechanics, so on one side you have the fluid statics, and on the other side you have the fluid dynamics.
Sir, excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Sir, there is a lag between your voice and the notepad. Means we are not getting the writing yet. Means your voice has come to us.
Can you see the writing now?
No, sir.
No, sir, not yet.
No, sir, not yet.
No, sir.
So you cannot see anything written in the white page.
No,
No, sir.
Sir,
No, sir, nothing.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Sir, actually, I think the problem is that all of us can edit the whiteboard, so that is why it is taking so much time to appear. So, if you could do it like only you could write, and then it would be faster. So we will get only read-only mode.
There will be an option of read-only modes.
Okay, in the settings, if I go there, so there is some. So what can I do in the settings? There is an accessibility checker. So in the settings, so how can I enable or disable others? So can any one of you tell that how to maybe disable others editing this so that it may be faster? I do not know.
I mean, sir, I mean, we have not actually seen any what you say, the admin settings, because we have never been admins in the course.
All right. So let me do one thing.
Sir, can you please just reshare and can you please just share again, and there you can probably find an option that you can and only me, that is only you can edit the whiteboard.
Okay. Let me do one thing. So I am now using the whiteboard version which is coming integrated with the Teams. Previously I was using a whiteboard app which is separately there in my computer. So let me write it here and see how do you see it, because this is exactly integrated with what I am saying. So just let me write this. So it is saying unable to sync changes. I do not know what is happening. So sometimes it is coming and going. Let me do one thing. Do a sharing again. So if I just share my entire screen, that may be a easier way to do. So if I write here, sorry. So this is a different software called as OpenBoard. Can you see anything written
Yes,
here?
sir. This is much faster.
Yes, sir. Much faster.
Very much faster.
So I will just make it a thicker line and start writing and see how it looks. Okay. So let me write and then you tell whether I mean it is visible. So fluid kinematics. Is
Yes,
it?
sir, it is visible.
Yes,
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 sir.
yes,
So, so I'm
it is
just writing
almost
and
no lag.
you are able to see, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir, we are able to see.
So as a software, it is not as good as this Microsoft Whiteboard, but for the time it is okay. I will try to put up a better software, and because the Microsoft Whiteboard, that I mean it is extremely good, but because all have access, it is having some accessibility issues. I will try to resolve that and see. But today let us move on with this one. So if you see that in terms of the fluid mechanics as a subject, the subject deals with primarily statics and dynamics. It is true for both fluids and solids. So it is of no exception that fluid mechanics will also revolve around these two. Now, out of that, statics we are not considering explicitly in this particular course because statics is something which can be considered as a subset of dynamics. We will see how that in a limiting case of dynamics we can converge to some of the basic theories of fluid statics towards the later part of the course. So we will perceive statics as a limiting form of dynamics. So in that way we will not consider that. So primarily this course will be centered around the dynamics of fluids. So when you talk about dynamics, you have one aspect which is kinematics, another aspect which is called as kinetics. If this line is too thick, you let me know, so I will use a bit thinner one. I think the medium line will be better. Now, if we are talking about this kinetics, so it will talk about two aspects, rather one aspect related to the other. So kinetics, you will easily recognize that it is related to forces, but the forces are themselves functions of motion, and this is so much special to fluid flow, that forces are themselves function of motion. So in that way, what we can say is that to understand the forces, we also have to understand the motion. So kinematics or motion is the first most important building block that we learn in fluid mechanics, with an understanding that the motion of fluids, which can be expressed by the relationship between the force and the motion, itself is dependent on the kinematics in two ways. So if you consider the Newton's second law, why in a simple way we always start with Newton's second law is because this is how all of us learn the subject in the school level mechanics. So on one side you have force, another side you have acceleration. So acceleration is a kinematic quantity because it is dealing with motion, and the force is also a function of motion. So what kind of function of motion, that we will see later on, but the first and foremost interest for us is therefore to understand the different ways, both mathematical and physical, of describing the motion, because if we can do that, we will be able to describe the force itself, which is a function of motion, and we will be able to describe the acceleration itself mathematically. So in that way, we will be having a mathematical foundation where we can write something which is perhaps a different way of writing, but of similar physical consequence as of Newton's second law applied to fluid flow. So with that in purview, let us enter into the discussion of fluid kinematics. So in terms of fluid kinematics, we will describe first about the methods of describing fluid motion. So before the methods, let us understand the challenges. The challenges of describing fluid motion are very much different from the perception of describing the motion of either a rigid solid or a mildly deformable solid. So if you have a solid, for example, just let me draw a schematic to describe this. So if you have a solid, the solid will have several particles. I mean, you can conceptualize it as a collection of several particles. Now, when the solid is moving and deforming, say it's both a moving as well as deformable solid. So in that way, what will happen is you will see that the entire motion of the solid can be described as a collection of, or you can say as a culmination of, the various particles which are moving like this. So when you have that one, let us imagine that some of these particles, just let me put some color, that they are moving like this. So if it is mildly deforming, it is possible that you can get, or you can be in a position to track the motions of all these particles. May not be very straightforward, but will not be so difficult. Imagine that instead of a solid, it's now a lump or a packet of fluid. So when you want to describe the motion of this lump or a packet of fluid, what you will see is that you have certain particles, and these particles are continuously, they are moving in a way that this packet of fluids, which was earlier, like drawn like this over a period of time may have got deformed, extremely deformed, and it is impossible to keep on tracking how it deforms over time. So this is just at one instant of time, next instant of time, some other very complex deformation, and it is impossible to track each and every particle in that way. So the method of describing fluid motion has its obvious challenges as against the methods of describing motion of a solid. Having said that, there are standard ways of describing motion, and we will learn them one after the other and see which one will be more appropriate for fluid motion. So the first one is the Lagrangian approach. The Lagrangian approach, as it means, is that if you have a particle, how the particle is defined? So it is defined by an initial position vector. So you can have a origin of the coordinate system like this, say O, and you define its position vector, say R, which in a generic vector notation could be described by either the Cartesian or cylindrical or spherical, polar, or any other coordinate system. So when you have this position vector, it changes continuously because the particle is moving. So the particle, say it is having a trajectory like this, and the hallmark of the Lagrangian viewpoint is that you keep on tracking the particle. So after some time, let the particle has come here, and its new position vector is this one. So let us say that the old position vector or the initial position vector is R0. that is at time equal to 0. So at time equal to 0, the particle started with the location R0, and what we are all interested to see or to find out is actually the locus of the green line, which is the locus of the particle as it is being tracked over a period of time. So in that way, this R, which is the position vector at a given time, it is a function of R0 and the time t. So the R as a function of R0 and time t is the most generic way of describing the motion of a particle as it is being tracked, either for a solid or for a fluid, doesn't matter, once you are using this particle tracking concept. Now I will tell you something which is a bit more subtle, and perhaps in the undergraduate level that is not very commonly discussed. So when I talk about a particle, the first sort of question that should come to your mind is that we can all understand the concept of particle for a solid. What about the concept of particle in a fluid? The concept of particle in a fluid is not very straightforward, because the essential physical foundation will primarily be the atoms, molecules, etc. But as particles in a fluid, we are not actually meaning molecules in general. So what we are meaning is something which is a conceptual particle, which is in a different terminology, a fictitious fluid particle. So what is this fictitious fluid particle? This is a particle which is not actually a physical particle, and that is why we call it fictitious. This is a particle which may be represented by a collection of molecules which have, on a statistically average sense, a common collective behavior. That means you can imagine a packet of molecules, like whatever. I mean, all these molecules are under random motion. So it is impossible to consider them in a continuum framework where you are studying the continuous motion of fluid, not like motion of molecules. So in that way, what at the best you can do is that you can group them in a collection where each of the molecular entities within that is having on an average the same statistical characteristics. So this packet we can call as a fluid particle. Now this is the concept. Experimentally, how do you perceive this? So let us say that you have injected a dye, that is a colored ink, say a blue colored ink or a green colored ink, in the flow by some injection syringe. So once you do that, let us say that we have injected a say a blue colored ink somewhere. So the blue colored ink, when injected here, will look like a blob like this. So this you can imagine to be say a particle. Imagine. Now when the particle is there in the fluid, so this particle will move, and that particle, so that is not technically a particle in terms of what we call as point mass in classical mechanics. So it is a sort of, you have to imagine a fictitious concept which is tractable, and you are able to describe its motion. Similarity with the point mass is there in a sense that we are not considering its volume. So it's technically like a point because we are describing it by a position vector at a point. Right? So therefore it is described as a point very similar to point mass, and that is why it is called as a particle. So this way of describing this R as a function of R naught and time t is just a mathematical description of how a point mass moves in a certain path over time. So from this you can imagine that this is actually the traditional particle mechanics based approach that you may have considered in your elementary courses of particle dynamics in engineering mechanics or similar subjects. This is what is the Lagrangian description, and from the name you can make out very easily that this is to honor the famous scientist Lagrange, better to say famous mathematician Lagrange, because he was at the end a very strong mathematician who developed many mathematical foundations in calculus and several other mathematical topics, and this is one of the foundations that has been laid by his contribution. So to honor that, this is called as a Lagrangian description. Now I ask you a question. Now can any one of you tell that this act of describing the fluid motion or solid motion, whatever, by the Lagrangian method, what are the conditions in which it will not work? Can any one of you tell that? So we have a mathematical way of describing the motion, but simply it doesn't work. When?
So suppose we don't know the initial condition of the system or the particle system we are looking.
I mean that we will know anyway, because initial condition is something from which you have the system to evolve. So for example, if you are doing a physical experiment, this blue dot that I have drawn is the place where by an injection syringe. So physically what is happening, so you have a channel in which there is a water flow. So you make a small hole in the channel, and by injection syringe you are pushing a colored dye. So at time equal to 0 you are pushing it to some location in the fluid. So that is your R0, that you know at time equal to 0. So this you know. Even then it may not work. So can you tell, I mean, what is that very critical condition for which it will not work?
So for steady flow?
No, steady flow means, see, I mean, we'll discuss about all those things, but I mean, let us not bring into all those terminologies here. Steady, unsteady. I mean, it is at the end of flow, right? So if there is a steady flow, a fluid is flowing like this, say. So if you put a particle now, with the flow, the particle will move and go to a different place over a period of time. So you will always have a new position as a function of the original position and the time, say 2 seconds or 3 seconds, like that.
Sir, here we are studying a single particle in different time interval.
Yes.
So we are going to get more number of variables. So it is becoming a complex when we are dealing with Lagrangian. due to
No, I'm not.
complex.
I'm not. Bothering about the mathematical complexity so much, because let us say we identify some n number of particles and we are describing the motion of those n number of particles. Keep our objective in mind. Say these n number of particles conceptually. So these n number of particles, say they are sufficient to describe the fluid motion. And whatever is n, say maybe 1000, 10,000, let us say 10,000 particles. So these 10,000 particles we have identified and we are tracking the motion. It may be difficult to implement, but it is not. It is not mathematically absurd. So for all these 10,000 particles, we'll have initial position and we can track them in principle. But even that principle will fail. So my question is not really the implementation. Even the principle will fail. That is the more sort of dangerous thing. There are two things always you have to keep in mind. One is the principle, and that is the implementation of the principle. Sometimes the principle is okay, but implementation of the principle is challenging. So that is one level of complexity. But the greater danger is that when the principle itself is invalid, then forget about the implementation. So my question is around that when is this principle itself is invalid?
Sir, when there are two times for the same R naught, like the particle is circulating.
Okay, so so the particle is circulating, it's fine. So you have say a particle which is say undergoing some motion like this. So doesn't so you have one R naught, then the R will evolve with time, and after some time you can have the same R naught. R equal to R naught. That is okay.
Yes, sir. But is that a function? Is that a mathematical function? If you have.
Of course. The mathematical function is dependent on how the particle is moving. See, this mathematical function is something which depends on so many other things. It is just a mathematical description. Now, the way in which they are related, it depends on, for example, say, when you are talking about the circular motion. For example, is it a free vortex, forced vortex, mixed vortex? So many other things. So those are the details of kinematics. But let us say that details of kinematics is known by some mathematical function, either in terms of an analytical function or by say a collection of data, numerical data. That is, somehow the particle is tracked and that data is available. So you can feed that in the form of a mathematical function. So my question is not really about, how to write it. My question is even more fundamental, that the act of describing fluid motion in this way itself, is faulty. Under what conditions? So can any one of you have any insight on this? Okay, let me tell something. So see, what is your expectation out of this method of analysis is that the particle, say this blue colored dot, it is following the fluid. That means the motion of the particle is same as the motion of the fluid. Okay. So this particle, for example, is moving along this green line. So this green line is also an indicator of the motion of the fluid. So in a way, although we are not writing explicitly, we are assuming that the motion of the particle is representative of the motion of the fluid. So the big question is that this is our inherent assumption that although we are not writing explicitly, that motion of the particle represents motion of fluid, at least at that point, or let us say motion of the particle represents motion of fluid, whether at that point or at the new point, that we are not coming into. But motion of the particle represents motion of the fluid. This is very important, because if it had not done that, then the whole act of giving this description is useless, because our objective is to analyze the motion of fluid, not really to analyze the motion of any hypothetical particle. So this so-called hypothetical particle or fictitious particle will lose its relevance in describing the motion of the fluid. When? Can any one of you tell? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yes. So can any one of you tell that when when do you expect that the motion of the particle may not represent the motion of the fluid?
In case of turbulent flow.
No, forget about all those things. I mean, see, I will tell you, this is the art of learning a subject. Make your mind very simple rather than complex. See, from my years of experience in teaching and doing research in a subject, I have realized that the biggest challenge is the complexity that a formal education in the subject provides us. So I presume that all of you have done some fluid mechanics course in your earlier studies, and therefore you are prejudiced by that. So whenever say a question is being put up, there is nothing wrong with that, and even if I were in your place, I would have done it in the same way. I would have appealed to my former exposure to the subject to answer the question. So that is how this steady flow, unsteady flow, turbulent flow, laminar flow, all these things will come naturally in the mind. But the matter is actually more fundamental than that. So the matter is,
so whether it depends on the frame of reference.
Again, you see, so all these things. See, if I note down your all the inputs somewhere, you will realize that there is a connection. So steady, unsteady flow. Another is turbulent flow or laminar, whatever, and another is frame of reference. So all these are very specialized terminologies in fluid mechanics or any mechanics. So I would say that forget about all these. Think like a school student. If you are able to do that, then actually you are able to think the most fundamentally.
Sir, when we think of the particles, individual particles have different velocities and accelerations. So, but fluid, we consider it as a continuous thing.
No, that is all right. You are quite close to the point that first of all, the motion of the particle may not be exactly synchronized with the motion of the flow. Right?
Yes,
that means the particle is not synchronized with the motion of the flow. But when will that happen? You have not done anything special, right? You have just put a particle in the flow. So you expect the particle to move with the flow, but what you have just now said is that there are situations when it will not move with the flow. So there could be various situations, but one of the most compelling situations is that when the density of the particle is different from the density of the fluid. Okay, so the particle has a density and the fluid has a density. Okay, so you have density of particle and you have density of fluid. So if there is a difference in density of the particle and density of the fluid, even in a stagnant system, that density gradient will itself induce an artificial force, right? So that is not the force that you have applied, but this is simply the force due to the difference between the density of the particle and the fluid, which in simple school concept you can call something like the buoyancy force. Okay, so because of that, there could be a net force on the particle, even though you have not externally imposed anything, even though you had expected and anticipated that the particle will passively move with the flow, but it is not any more passively moving with the flow because of the density difference. So density difference is one of the most fundamental parameters. There could be several other contrasting properties between the particle and the fluid that will make a force acting on it, but the most fundamental one is the density difference. So if there is a density difference between the particle and the fluid, I mean conceptually you can say that I will ensure no density difference, but say you have a dye, a colored dye, I mean if you are not extremely alert, it may so happen that the density of the dye is same as is different from the density of the fluid in which you are injecting the dye. There will be always slight difference, but you know that slightness within a statistical limit, if it is there, it's okay. But if the difference is significant statistically, then motion of the particle will not reflect the motion of the fluid. So the first and foremost requirement, the most fundamental one, and I will write it somewhere so that you will never forget, and this is the best place to write, I mean erasing the other points, is that the particle has to be, this is a technical term, neutrally buoyant. Neutrally buoyant means that essentially these two are the same. Density of particle is same as the density of the fluid. So the particle has to be at least theoretically neutrally buoyant, so that the particle's motion is reminiscent of the fluid motion. Okay. So now, of course, the other point about the Lagrangian motion, which some of you have rightly highlighted, is that when the fluid has numerous such particles, and it is impossible to actually track all these particles. So what we can do, we can look for an alternative approach where we no more track particles. So what instead we do, instead of focusing on a particle, we focus at a point. So this is a point, not a particle. I mean, when I just mark it in a drawing or in a piece of paper, if I just put a cross or a dot, if I do not tell it verbally or amplify the issue, then both of them will appear to be like a point or a particle either way. But in the Lagrangian description, I identified a particle. Here I have not identified a particle, I have identified a point which is hallmarked by a position vector r. So in a Cartesian system, it could have this one, x, y, z coordinates. So when you have this point, which is described by its coordinates, how it is related to studying fluid motion, I'm just trying to create a physical picture in your mind so that you never forget about this. Let us say that somebody is sitting with a camera and focusing at that point. So the camera is focused at that point, and then a video image is being taken. And imagine that the same experiment we are doing, that we have injected a colored dye somewhere. I mean, not at this point, say somewhere. Now the colored dye, because the fluid is moving, this color is getting diffused. So through this point, something is passing. I mean, so this colored thing is passing. So you can see maybe a line moving. Depending on the nature of the flow, you can see either a line moving or something diffused, whatever it is. I'm not getting into that details. But my only point is that the mode of doing this study is actually to mark this point, focusing your attention on this point and studying the motion. So what is studying the motion at a point? So if you are following a particle, then finding the locus of the particle is a mathematical problem. Now here it's not a question of finding the locus of a point, because this point is something which is fixed. So what you are studying here? You are studying something in some way or the other. We will see what is that some way or the other, which will give you a mathematical way of describing the velocity at that point. So velocity at that point means this is called as velocity of flow. So velocity of flow, or you can say velocity of fluid, whatever way, I mean, it's just a matter of English terminology, but we mean all the same. That we want to mean is that when the fluid is flowing at this point, what is the velocity at which it is flowing? So if we develop a mathematical connect, that means we are able to describe this V as a function of the point which we have identified, where we are telling what is the velocity. And because this velocity at this point is likely to vary over time, if it doesn't vary with time, we call it steady flow. We will see later on. But in general, it is likely to vary with time. So the velocity at a given point is a function, in general, a function of the location of the point and the time which has elapsed. Physically, as if you are sitting with a device or a camera, so that you are extremely ignorant about this history, that is where from this has come. This is not what is your interest. Your interest or your focus is only this, not where from some particle has come and where it is going. That is also not your interest. So you are simply studying what is happening around this location, and maybe because identifying just a single point is difficult, you can identify a region where this point is there, and this identified region in fluid mechanics, thermodynamics, etc., this is called as control volume. So it's an identified region across which you are studying the changes, whatever fluid has come in, gone out, etc. Not where from it has come, not where it is going. And this point is actually a limiting form of the control volume when you have shrunk the volume to 0. So it has converged to a point. So it's a concept related to control volume. Instead of focusing at a particle, or instead of tracking a particle, you are focusing at a point. And this method of description is called as Eulerian description. Eulerian description. So Eulerian description is basically focusing at a point and studying the motion at that point, not tracking a particle. The advantage with this is that you are not having to track individual particles. And because the fluid is continuously deforming, it's a hell of a job in practice to track so many particles which can actually constitute statistically the fluid. And instead, if you can just identify certain points and then describe the velocity at those points. By that, you can constitute a picture about the fluid motion, and therefore the Eulerian viewpoint is a more convenient way of describing fluid motion than the Lagrangian viewpoint. In the mechanics that all of you have learnt in school, high school, and maybe early days of your undergraduate, that is primarily based on the Lagrangian description. Whereas in the fluid mechanics, because the Lagrangian description itself is tedious to implement, we will prefer mostly the Eulerian description. So all the basic principles of physics that you have come across by this time will still remain applicable, but their manifestation in mathematical form will look different because we will be describing those in terms of Eulerian description. And that is how your well-known Newton's second law of motion looks very much different in form when expressed for fluid flow in terms of the Eulerian variables, which is nothing but the Navier-Stokes equation. So with this, let us conclude the discussion for today. So let us come back to the platform, and then we can have maybe one or two questions. If you have some questions, we can discuss. Otherwise, we will call it a day today and continue with the class on Thursday. If any of you have not registered in the Microsoft Teams, normally your class routine is synchronized. It's very easy to synchronize with this platform. The two teaching assistants who are there for this course, they may have already contacted you, or you may have come across them individually. Devi Prasad Panigrahi and Devmallo Roy, two of my PhD students. They are the teaching assistants of this course. So they will actually interface with you most of the times for the logistics of the course. That means something with the recorded lectures, your participation in the class, getting access to Microsoft Teams, submission of assignments, exam logistics, etc. So from time to time, if you have any issues, you may be in touch with them, and otherwise we will continue class in the same way. I believe that the writing platform which I used for the most part of today's class, it was convenient for you to read and follow, and if so, we will continue with the use of this for all the subsequent classes. So if you have anything to tell, you can. Otherwise, please feel free to leave the class and possibly join your subsequent classes. Yeah, Utsav, you tell.
Sir, is the neutral buoyancy sufficient condition for synchronization of particle and the fluid?
Not necessarily, because there are so many other things. See, neutrally buoyant is one of the basic things, but not sufficient, because say the fluid is charged and the particle is also charged. So because of some difference in permittivity between the particle and the fluid, there could be a net motion between the particle and the fluid. So the most fundamental thing is that you have to somehow overrule any relative motion between the particle and the fluid. So neutrally buoyant is one of the basic things to ensure that. For the other factors, you have to look into other details, whether heat transfer is important, whether the particle is charged, whether the fluid has charge, etc. Those are more complicated physical issues. So I have only touched upon the most fundamental physical issue, which is applicable to all problems, no matter how simple or how complex it is. Any other question? Okay, if not, let us close this class. So we will meet again on the coming Thursday. the class timings on Thursday, I believe it is what 8 o'clock, right? 8 o'clock in the morning. So we will meet at that time. Thank you very much, and goodbye for now.